Okay, hello there. Welcome back to the list of top 10 Twilight Zone episodes. We're at number 6, about halfway through. And today we're talking about And When the Sky Was Opened. This is one of the more well-known episodes on this list. You've probably heard of it. 3 guys go up into space, they're astronauts. They return to Earth, but then one by one they disappear until there's one left, and then there's none left. And at first, just one of them is gone, and one of them remembers them, and the other one doesn't. But then the one who did remember the third guy vanishes, and so the other guy's left like, oh, there was a third guy, but I don't remember him existing. This is a great, just existential crisis one. Just people breaking down, like going nuts. This is above Perchance to Dream on the list, but that's only because it's more popular. I think they're about even in terms of impact, but because of the popularity, When the Sky Was Opened gets one notch above. But you know, they are both on the top 10 list, so they're definitely gods among episodes. Now, how this episode works is I feel it's kind of a response to the space race. Because at one point one of the astronauts says, I feel like we weren't meant to return because there's something crazy up there. You know, because this episode is to remind everyone that as cool as outer space might be, it's dangerous. So even if you return, you might end up just vanishing from all human knowledge because you've left the planet. You know, this is psychological science fiction. It's not your standard outer space fare. Because these guys are on Earth. Again, and what I really like about this episode is that there's no twist, there's no big reveal, there's no explanation for it. It just happens. This isn't an episode to be explained, it's just an episode to be observed. You can watch it twice. I suggest watching it twice. Really letting it sink in, but you won't be able to explain it. That's because it's just meant to be observed. It's just something that, you know, and at the end, all that happens is they're all gone, and none of them ever existed. That's a really unsettling thought to stop existing. That's why I'd say The Twilight Zone is a great sci-fi series. You know, because just the thought that you go up into outer space and when you come back, you're not going to exist anymore and no one will remember you or anything. It's horrifying. What I admire about Twilight Zone first and foremost is what it was able to do with no CGI. They had to use all practical effects, but what I like about this episode is there's barely even any practical effects. It's just people talking, people thinking, people breaking down, people going into tears, into riots, you know. And they really do, they really do a good job of making this scenario believable. I mean, it's an absurd scenario, but for some reason, it feels very heavy. Also, the doctored headlines, you know, first there's the photo of the 3 of them, then just the 2, then just the 1 of them, and then there's none, and, you know, it's just a very... The newspapers are well made for that time, when there wasn't Photoshop, you know, so... And just the existential trauma of it is really cool. This is sci-fi. It just asks, it creates more questions than it answers, is what I think I'm trying to say. It's a really good episode. This is why I prefer Twilight Zone to The Outer Limits. Outer Limits relies... It's basically always just the same thing, just some evil alien with some evil motive, and aside from the 10-fingered guy, or the 12-fingered guy, it's not none of the episodes really caught me that much, because they seem like they're just kind of showing off the special effects of, we can make a rock hard, and we can make a coal miner into a a mental giant, and tumbleweeds come alive. But Twilight Zone goes far more into the human psyche. It really delves into what it means to, and this one is not cheesy. It's a psychological thriller first and foremost. Barely even science fiction, I'd call it. I mean, it is. There's a supernatural element, as if the will of the universe doesn't want them to return to Earth, and they weren't supposed to. It's a very nihilistic concept for its time. This is revolutionary science fiction here. So as for why this is at number 6, we've got some better episodes up ahead, but there's a nice halfway point. It's a really good episode. And if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest it, because for every Canamit, or every Taki Tina, or every invaders, or whatever, there's a great episode like this that doesn't have so much of the flashy stuff, but even so, it's a very scary episode. This is horror before jump scares or a thing, it's just it really fills you with dread. Again, I suggest watching it twice, so you realize that there's no solution to it. Like with The Arrival, Rod says there's a solution straight up front, so we know there is, and then by the end of The Arrival, the solution is found. But in this case, there's no solution whatsoever. We have no idea what's going on, aside from that monologue the astronaut gives, as I said. And just the back and forth in this hospital room, it's very claustrophobic atmosphere. It feels very intense, And by the end, all the astronauts have reached their destiny. They've all disappeared. That's it's a really unsettling episode. And I'd suggest what? There's Twilight Zone was always constrained by budget. There's Nervous Man, a $4 room, famously was very cheap. I haven't seen that one. I need to see it. I don't know why I haven't seen it. And When the Sky Was Opened is a very... I feel the biblical titling is a little cliche for a sci-fi, but even so, it definitely retains a very skeptical look at sci-fi. Because at this time we were trying to beat the commies up there and be the first on the moon. This says, what if there's something we can't understand or comprehend, and it makes people, it erases them from existence, essentially. This is great science fiction that hadn't really been done before at the time. Also, much better than anything on Outer Limits. Nothing against Outer Limits, it's a fun watch, but Twilight Zone is better, and this is a case of Twilight Zone at its finest. Really making the viewer doubt what they're seeing, and, changing things around. It's just amazing. So, again, I suggest watching it in full. But, this one is great. And this is probably the only one on this list that's very, very well known. My favorite scene has probably got to be the phone scene, where he's in the bar. But it's all great. Masterfully made, great execution, great dialogue, great pacing, great everything. I like the old Twilight Zone, and I haven't seen the new one because I'm not willing to pay for CBS All Access. And I doubt I will be. Until then, I'll just be watching the ones I haven't seen. For from the original series. Okay, stay tuned.